Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the movie podcast that no one asked for. I'm your host Alia, and today's episode is on the live-action Barbie movie that came out in 2023. This episode we will be going over the overall production of the movie, the cast, America Ferrera's iconic monologue, the marketing genius behind the film, the awards and nominations this film achieved, which were numerous, and its importance in society overall. We will of course also include some behind-the-scenes fun facts and some of the movie's most memorable quotes and scenes. Let's get into it, and I hope you guys enjoy. As always, I will start with a synopsis of the film for those of you who haven't watched it or maybe haven't watched it for a while. Again, as always with all the films I talk about on this podcast, I highly recommend you do give them a watch. Let's start off with the synopsis. Barbie has to venture outside of Barbie land into the real world when a young girl, Sasha, loses her imagination and love for the doll, whilst her mum, Gloria, is desperately trying to hang on to that part of her inner child. Ken decides he wants to see the real world too, and escapes with Barbie, where he learns about the patriarchy and brings the idea back to the rest of the Kens in Barbie land. The rest of Barbie land becomes brainwashed by this, and Barbie must bring Sasha and Gloria back to Barbie land to restore it to its former female-empowered ideology. Barbie learns what it really means to be a woman in this world and chooses to embrace the complexities of being a human woman, whilst the Kens find their own identities alongside the other Barbies. And that may sound bonkers, and to be honest, it is a little bit bonkers, but that's what makes this movie so brilliant, and it's incredibly human as well for a story that is mainly about dolls. Next, let's talk about the production of this film. So the production companies involved were Lucky Chap, Warner Brothers, who were the distributors, Mattel Films, and Heyday Films. The producers were Margot Robbie herself, who of course stars as Barbie, Tom Ackerley, her husband, who is also at the head of Lucky Chap with Margot and Josie McNamara. David Heyman was also another producer involved in this project. The project was originally announced way back in 2009, but was then stalled until Margot brought it to Warner Brothers in 2018. In 2019, Greta Gerwig got involved and it took off from there. So I guess we have Margot to thank for spearheading the project. Let's talk about the writers of this film. Greta Gerwig herself, who of course went on to direct the film, and her husband and partner Noah Baumbach. You may know Greta for her work on Lady Bird, Little Women in 2019, and the upcoming Chronicles of Narnia. She's also an actress with many credits to her name. Noah you might know from the movies J. Kelly, Frances Ha, Marriage Story, and many more. They met professionally on the set of Greenberg, which Baumbach wrote with his then wife Jennifer Jason Leigh. Their initial collaboration was when they met on Greenberg, however they started dating after that of course, with sources citing late 2011. Their professional collaboration flourished soon after, with them co-writing Frances Ha in 2013, which was the start of their writing career together. Now the first actor that we're going to talk about is of course Margot Robbie herself, aka Barbie. She is absolutely the perfect selection for Barbie in general, and the amount of emotion and just hard work that you can tell she put into this role is incredible. But for those of you who are living under a rock, here are some of her previous credits. She was in Wolf of Wall Street as Naomi, which was actually her first ever Hollywood film, another incredibly impressive title to have to her name. She was in I, Tonya, my personal favourite movie ever, as Tonya Harding, which got her Oscar nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role, and that movie was also produced by Lucky Chap. She was also in Focus as Jess Barrett, another fantastic film. Another massive film that she was in was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as Sharon Tate, another incredibly hard role to play, which she did a fantastic job doing. She was also in Babylon as Nellie Leroy, and as the name suggests, it's a crazy movie and her character definitely matches that vibe. And she was in Bombshell as Kayla Pospisil, which earned her another Oscar nomination, this time for Best Supporting Actress. Next up, we're going to talk about America Ferrera, who plays Gloria. You might know her from Superstore, where she plays Amy. She was also in Ugly Betty as Betty Suarez. She was more recently in The Lost Bus alongside Matthew McConaughey as Mary Ludwig. She was in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, the animated one, as Astrid, and she was also in The Sisterhood of Traveling Pants as Carmen Lowell and Dumb Money as Jenny. A little fun fact about her is that she was accepted into USC on a presidential scholarship, double majoring in theatre and international relations. However, she dropped out to focus on her acting career, but then later finished her bachelor's degree in May 2013. Moving on, we have Ariana Greenblatt, who plays Sasha. She may be young, but she's already got some incredible movies under her belt. However, she got her start in the Disney show Stuck in the Middle, where she played Daphne Diaz. She was in Borderlands as Tiny Tina. She was in Now You See Me, Now You Don't as June. She was in the movie 65 as Koa and Love and Monsters as Minnow. She was also in the In the Heights live action movie as a young Nina Rosario. Lastly, she has also played young Ahsoka Tano in the series Ahsoka and a young Gamora in the Avengers, so she is certainly no stranger to big franchises and playing iconic characters, and she's one of my favourite Gen Z actors too. Now let's talk about Ryan Gosling as Ken. This was the perfect role for him, and we will discuss that in some of the behind the scenes facts later. You will know him from La La Land as Sebastian, The Heartbreaking Notebook as Noah. That movie gets me in tears every single time. He was in, most recently, Project Hail Mary as Ryland Grace. He was in Drive as Driver, as well as Blade Runner 2049 as Officer K. Ryan was also in the comedy Crazy Stupid Love as Jacob, of course alongside Steve Carell, and he was in Remember the Titans as Alan Bosley. I would also like to point out that when I give some of the backgrounds of the actors, I'm not going to mention every movie that they've ever been in, because for some of them it is a lot, so I just try and pick out some of the most well-known ones that they're in. This movie had so many incredible cameos, that so much so that there are just too many for me to name all of them, but I will give you a few examples. Emma Mackey played physicist Barbie, and you might know her from the Netflix show Sex Education. She was also known as one of Margot Robbie's doppelgangers for a long time. However, when they were actually on set and in their hair and makeup, they soon discovered that they are actually not that similar in looks. We also have Will Ferrell, who played the Mattel CEO. He was in Elf and Step Brothers. We have Simu Lee as one of the Kens. He was Shang-Chi and is Shang-Chi in the Marvel Universe. Kate McKinnon plays Weird Barbie. She was on SNL and was also in the movie Bombshell alongside Margot. Issa Rae plays President Barbie. She was in The Hate You Give and Insecure. Michael Cera plays Alan and does so well. Couldn't have chosen a better actor for Alan. He was in Scott Pilgrim and Superbad. And yeah, like I said, there are many others worth a mention too, such as John Cena playing Mermaid Barbie. Sadly, I do not have the time to go over all of the incredible cameos involved. I just realised that I cannot make this podcast without going over the music for the film. They had so many incredible artists involved. Dance the Night was by Dua Lipa. What Was I Made For with Billie Eilish. I'm Just Ken, of course. The Song of All Songs, sung by Ryan Gosling and the rest of the Kens. Barbie World with Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice along with Aqua. Pink with Lizzo. Speed Drive with Charli XCX. Watati, I hope I'm saying that right, with Karol G featuring Aldo Ranks. Man I Am with Sam Smith. Journey to the Real World by Tame Impala. Choose Your Fighter with Ava Max. Angel with Pink Panther. Barbie Dreams with 50/50 featuring Callie. Home with Haim, and Forever and Again with The Kid Laroi. The album was executively produced by acclaimed producer Mark Ronson. You might know him for his work with Amy Winehouse and Ray. He also produced this alongside Kevin Weaver and Brandon Davis. Ronson worked closely with Andrew Wyatt to produce and co-write many of the original songs, including I'm Just Ken and Dance the Night, as well as to score the film in general. Now I'm going to insert some iconic quotes and scenes from the movie, starting off with America Ferrera's incredible monologue on what it is to be a woman in this modern society. If you are listening, so on audio only, then the scenes again should make sense without the video itself, but if you're on YouTube you will also be able to see the visuals, so I recommend you go and do that if you can.
I'm not pretty anymore.
What? You're so pretty.
I'm not stereotypical Barbie pretty.
Note to the filmmakers, Margot Robbie is the wrong person to cast if you want to make this point.
You're beautiful.
It's not just that. I'm not smart enough to be interesting.
You're so smart.
I can't do brain surgery. I've never flown a plane. I'm not the president. No one on the Supreme Court is me. I'm not good enough for anything.
It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary. But somehow we're always doing it wrong. Like, you have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women, because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood, but always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged, so find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. And if all of that is also true for a doll, just representing a woman, then I don't even know.
If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
Anyone who wants to beat him off has to beat me off first.
I will beat both of you off at the same time.
But you don't even know how to beat yourself off. How are you going to beat both of us off? It doesn't make sense.
Nobody's gonna beat anyone off. And the time that it took for me to say that sentence, you healed.
Fantastic.
Nice. Do you guys ever think about dying?
I thought I might stay over tonight.
Why?
Because we're girlfriend-boyfriend.
To do what?
I'm actually not sure.
I don't want you here.
Hurry up, the president's here.
I am, you're welcome.
This beach. You'll need someone who's a professional in that.
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them. I told you there'd be beach.
Yeah. And I would just like to inform you, I do not have a vagina. And he does not have a penis. We don't have genitals.
I have all the genitals. But then I realized that horses are just men extenders. Don't question it, just roll with it, tiny baby. Ken's, Mojo, Dojo, Casa. Kenman land.
Land of
The free and the men.
Right.
Well, we just took patriarchy and, made it patriarchy.
Yeah.
You just hold on for 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Sublime! Come on in. I'll play the guitar at you.
Oh, yay!
To be honest, when I found out the patriarchy wasn't about horses, I lost interest anyway.
Okay. I'm here to see my gynecologist.
No way. Way. And if it were...
We mothers stand still so our daughters can look back to see how far they've come.
So being human's not something I need to ask for or even want. I can just... It's something that I just discover I am. You're so beautiful. I know it.
Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed my selection of scenes there. In this next segment, I'm going to be talking about why this movie matters so much in my opinion. I cannot state enough that this is all just my opinion. I'm sure there'll be people who agree and people who disagree, but this is my podcast, so deal with it. But anyways, I'm gonna get into why I personally think this movie matters so much. Starting with, it happened in the wake of COVID, when people needed fun and something to look forward to, as well as remind them of their childhood, etc. So personally, I was in around year 8 when COVID hit, so I definitely did feel like I missed a lot of certain childhood activities, but this movie was exactly what I needed personally. Of course, that was in 2023, so a little bit after COVID, but still very much, like I mentioned, in the wake of it. And I know so many people who had horrific times during COVID, and this film was just fun, as well as, like I mentioned before, just really incredibly human and touching in general. The content itself was also brilliantly written. Kids could watch it and have fun without necessarily understanding the nuances, whilst older people could have fun but also take away the cultural and social messages of the movie. So yeah, it's always nice when you have a movie that you could watch with sort of several generations of people and it be enjoyed by everyone, which is very rare, I feel like. And I like the way that, you know, two people could go in and watch it and come out with two completely different messages from it or ideas from it. You know, kids might come out just thinking it was a fun movie and having enjoyed to see their childhood toy on screen, but also, you know, with adults, and I think especially women, come out with a lot to think about, really. So yeah, and I know it was kind of a bit sad how a lot of people didn't get some of the messages from the film, especially because some of the messages were more surface level, which again was brilliant, because people who just want to go and see a movie without having to necessarily think critically too much about it, then, you know, they could watch it and still come out feeling all the emotions. However, I did see that a few people definitely did not get any of the messages in this movie who perhaps should have. But yeah, it allowed people to appreciate the film without it bordering on, you know, that sort of thing of being so artsy that no one could actually understand it. It was a very accessible, and is a very accessible film. So that's just a little conclusion of why I think this movie matters so much, but please let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This movie was also more than a movie, so much more than a movie. It was a cultural phenomenon. Whether you watched the movie or not, I'm 99% sure you will have heard the term Barbie Summer, and that is due to some very creative marketing, some marketing genius that was actually led by Josh Goldstein from Warner Brothers. He led the overall theatrical marketing strategy. He tried to focus on making the film a cultural event through unconventional partnerships, such as the Barbenheimer phenomenon, which again is another thing that I'm going to move on to as well. Josh Silverman and Nathan Baynard from Mattel were also a massive part of this marketing genius. They managed the brand collaborations and ensured that the film aligned with the Barbie brand's broader cultural reappraisal, because of course Barbie is a very well-known character, a very well toy, and they didn't want to ruin that in any way. In fact, they wanted to enhance it, which I think they did an incredible job at doing. The strategy was characterized by a pink first approach, a viral Barbie selfie generator, and extensive brand tie-ins such as clothing, gaming, home goods. You will have seen the I Am Knuff hoodie, which I'm very jealous that I do not have. And yeah, they had plenty of different merchandise that they were selling. You couldn't really escape it, to be honest, which goes to show just how big this movie became before it was even released. And yeah, talking about Barbenheimer, so this clashed perfectly with the release of Oppenheimer, which is sort of the exact opposite of what Barbie is, of course, about the making of the first atomic bomb. So Barbie quickly used this to its advantage and made it even more of a cultural event. A lot of people were doing double screenings of Oppenheimer and Barbie, and there was a lot of discussion around what one to watch first and which one to watch second. And there's the iconic photo of Margot and Greta outside of an Oppenheimer poster in a cinema holding up their tickets to go see it. And interestingly enough, one of the producers actually called Margot to ask her to move the release date of Barbie so that they could accommodate Oppenheimer, and Margot said, you know what, no, I'm not moving this film, and if you guys want to release your film on the same day, that's fine. And luckily for Oppenheimer, it worked out probably better for them than it would have if they were released separately, because, yeah, like I said, it just made the movie into such a big event, and certainly that was the most full I've seen cinemas in a long time, and it was great to see people actually going out and watching movies. Now let's talk about the awards and nominations that this film received. There are countless, so I doubt I will be able to go through all of them. However, I will try and go through as many as I can. In terms of Academy Awards, so the Oscars in 2024, it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor with Ryan Gosling, Best Supporting Actress, America Ferrera, Best Adapted Screenplay by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. They won the Oscar for Best Song. Of course, that was What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell. They were also nominated for Best Song for I'm Just Ken, which was written by Mark Ronson and Andrew Wyatt, and they were nominated for Best Production Design with Sarah Greenwood and Katie Spencer, and Best Costume Design with Jacqueline Duran. So very impressive amount of nominations at the Oscars. However, we cannot skip over the fact that Greta Gerwig was snubbed for even being nominated for Best Director, and the same goes for Margot. And yeah, there's an endless amount of irony around Ryan Gosling being nominated. Of course, he also did a fantastic job, but Margot not being nominated was, yeah. I personally was not very happy, and I know a lot of people felt the same way, but I'm glad America Ferrera was nominated because she did a fantastic job, and it's nice to see that recognised. They were nominated for Golden Globes as well, several. Margot Robbie was nominated for Best Leading Actress in a Comedy or Musical, same with Ryan Gosling being nominated for Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture, and they also have another number of nominations from the Golden Globes, but like I said, there's so many to go over. They won Best Original Song for What Was I Made For, and they also won Cinematic and Box Office Achievement, which just statistically cannot be denied. It did incredible, making over $1 billion in the box office. BAFTAs, they were nominated for several but won none. Some of their nominations included Best Leading Actress for Margot Robbie, Best Supporting Actor for Ryan Gosling, again, Best Original Screenplay, Best Production Design, and Best Costume Design. For the SAG Awards, they were nominated for Best Performance by Cast in a Motion Picture, Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role, of course that being Margot, Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role, that being Ryan Gosling, and nominated for Best Performance by a Stunt Ensemble in a Motion Picture. I've got a massive list in front of me, so I'm trying to pick out, yeah, so many. There was a lot of Critics' Choice Awards nominations. They won for Best Original Screenplay. They also won for Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Hair and Makeup, and Best Song, this time the best song being I'm Just Ken, and it also won for Best Comedy. So overall, they were very successful in the award side of things. However, they did get snubbed quite a lot, and of course they were up against a lot of tough competition, especially with movies like Oppenheimer, but they did it incredibly well. Now to wrap it up, let's go over some behind the scenes fun facts of this movie. There's quite a few. So let's start off with, there was a pink shortage. The extensive use of Roscoe fluorescent pink paint for the sets reportedly caused a global shortage, although granted, like I mentioned, this movie was produced shortly after COVID, so that also did play a part in the shortage. Secondly, Amy Schumer was originally attached to play Barbie but dropped out of the project, and by the time Greta and Noah got involved, they very much had the idea of Margot and Ryan playing the main Barbie and Ken, so much so that Greta in the script wrote Margot Barbie, Ryan, Ken, etc. Every Sunday, the entire cast gathered at the Electric Cinema in Notting Hill, where they watched movies relevant to the Barbie storyline, and the group began to refer to the weekly get-togethers as Movie Church. Margot Robbie also organised a On Wednesdays We Wear Pink, obviously Mean Girls reference there, so every Wednesday on set they would wear pink. She also gifted Ryan Gosling a new gift each day on set, relating to Ken to help him get into character. And just 2 weeks after arriving in theatres, Barbie earned the distinction of becoming the first $1 billion film solely directed by a woman, another incredible and groundbreaking feat by Greta Gerwig. Ryan Gosling was nominated for an Oscar for his performance in the movie, as I mentioned, but Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie were not. After the nomination, Ryan made a statement saying that there was no Ken without Barbie and no Barbie movie without Greta Gerwig. And he was incredibly right in that, and also, yeah, just another reason to make you love Ryan Gosling even more. According to Ryan Gosling, as I mentioned, he was built for this role. He accepted the role of Ken after seeing his daughter's Ken doll lying face down in the mud next to a squashed lemon. He then took a photo of the doll and lemon and sent it to Greta Gerwig saying, "I shall be your Ken." His story, it must be told, that is a great fact to end it on. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening / watching this episode of the podcast, and tune in for the next episode, which will be on Little Women, the 2019 version. As always, please like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube, and please rate me 5 stars on whatever podcast app you are listening on. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next episode.